in, if you're watching this later on or right now, just say hi to us, drop a hello, let us know how your morning's going. We are so excited for you to be here with us, and you are going to want to stay tuned in. Alexandria is amazing. I'll just start off by saying that she is 27 years old. She is a nurse. She is in an amazing relationship. And she came to me. We just got out of a 6-month one-to-one container, but she's continuing with me on a maintenance plan. So she came to me, I remember in the summertime. I remember our first call. It was outside. I was in my yard. And her transformation was inspiring beyond words. And I really want her to share her story so that you can apply it to yourself and it can bring you hope for what's possible when you make that really empowered decision to make a change. All right. So welcome, Alexandria. Thank you so much for being here with me and sharing yourself with everyone.
Oh, absolutely. Good morning.
All right. So we're going to start off, Alexandria, by just telling us a little bit about yourself. And when you came to me, you know, that right in the beginning, tell us a little bit about what was happening in your life.
Yeah, so I honestly had just moved from my home state to Nevada from Arizona, and I was just feeling really confused. I was having a lot of alone time, so the reflection and stuff was kind of, you know, unavoidable. I didn't really have much friends here, so I found myself just reflecting and kind of confused at where I was at in life. I realized that I was allowing other people's vision of me and definition of me define who I was. And I wanted to change that. I felt like I was ready to take over myself and my body and feel confident in my relationships and take control over my life because I felt like it was being steered for me. And I needed to change that. So I actually started working with a friend of yours, and she referred me to you for deeper inner work because I got to a place where I was ready to be open and vulnerable, which is very important in this work. However, I was facing some difficulties in my own personal relationship with intimacy and feeling the desire, but there was so much love for my partner. However, there was some disconnect that I couldn't figure out, and turns out I had to look deeper, and you helped me figure that out. And it really kind of trickled into other things throughout my life, like with relationships with between my sister and I, my mom and I. And yeah, this is where we are. I feel so great. I've become so empowered, and I feel like I'm so confident in my body and my emotions. I'm so happy of where I've become, because before I was so afraid to express myself. I felt like I didn't have control over my emotions because I didn't know how to feel them. And now I have every tool there is to offer to feel and be okay with that. It feels incredible.
Yes, you have. Thank you for sharing that. You have all the tools in your toolbox. And I just want to say you were such an amazing student and client. You know, everything that I gave you, you really went all in. You really played full out for the full 6 months. And you were very, very dedicated to your transformation. And what I want to say as your coach is, it only took for you to get in the container with me and for me to give you the permission to be everything that you ever needed to yourself and never got, right? Because as humans, we're always looking externally. We're looking for someone else to validate us, for someone else to fix us, for, you know, something outside of us to give us some kind of value and worth. And the paradox of transformation is that it's literally been you the whole time. And that's what I think of. Even when we set your vision and your intention for the 6 months, it was literally, we both had it on our walls the whole time, but it was literally for you to become your most authentic self and be unapologetically you with no regrets, right? Because when you came to me, you definitely had that thing that a lot of people have, which is, anxiety and the pleaser. And the pleaser apologizes a lot or silences themselves or doesn't feel totally free to be who she is. So
Yeah.
when I think of your transformation, you just literally started to grow and blossom before my eyes, and it was so beautiful. So let's start with, right? Because a lot of relationships in your life evolved because of all the work you put into yourself.
Yes.
And I just want to start there because, um, usually what we think is the problem is not the problem. So when we talk about the intimacy between you and your partner, here you were in a loving relationship with the man of your dreams. Um, yeah. And there was something happening there, right? Like there was a block with the intimacy, and that's what was coming up for you in the present. But we discovered what was at the heart and the root and origin of that.
Yeah.
And why don't you just talk a little bit about that and where you are today with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So turns out through some shadow work and inner work, some stuff from my past came up. I do have a history of sexual trauma in my childhood. So that
Mm,
kind of popped up. It was that I had to resonate with and kind of be there for myself. But through the inner work and meditation, I was able to be there for that girl version of me. I was there, I was able to be there for myself. And I'm able to be there for her to this day because it is something that I will always hold with me, but I can carry it lighter now. It's not as heavy, it's not as hard because I was just a kid, and I didn't really give myself that compassion throughout this whole time because I didn't know how to. I always blamed myself. I was always in that victim mindset. But really, I'm a survivor and that's okay. Like at first, I didn't really view the word survivor. Like, I thought victim and survivor kind of go hand in hand, but no, survivor is a more powerful take on it. And I think it's important to recognize that hard things do happen in life, and you can, like, crappy things happen sometimes, but it's the way that you overcome it and take on. And I was taking it on as like, a defense mechanism to where it was hindering certain aspects of my sexuality, and I didn't know how to love my body because I felt like I was damaged goods due to it. But
mm,
overall, like being able to be compassionate and give myself compassion and give myself that love and support through that hard time, boy, it was so hard, and I really had to like be okay with pushing myself to that boundary, but I did it, and now I love myself even more, and I'm able to like give myself grace and love my body. I actually feel sexy in my own skin. I feel more confident in the bedroom. Like it's been incredible, and I know my partner sees it too.
awesome. I
It's
know
so
he
much
was
fun. It's
happy.
awesome.
That is so beautiful, Alexandria. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
what I want to say is, again, what we think is the problem, right? The block in the bedroom in the here and now is not actually the problem. It's
Yeah, I thought it was
something
my
that,
anxiety. I really did because I would get these overwhelming just emotions of just, oh my gosh, like I feel like something's heavy on my chest and I need to cry in the most inappropriate times. It was so like, but like luckily I have a loving man who was able to like hold me and like just help me cry through it. But that's kind of what woke me up. I was like, this isn't normal and I need to figure out where it's coming from. So
yeah.
thank
And
you from
isn't
the
it?
bottom of my heart because
Oh
really
my
like
gosh.
I knew it was really hard to go through, and you really did push me to get to that like weak point, and you've seen me scream, you've seen me cry. It's been an incredible journey, but it's well worth it. It's been so
Mm.
powerful.
Yeah, well, you were open and willing to go there. And what I want to say is, we're so afraid to go there. It's lurking in the shadows of our subconscious. But when we go there and we realize, oh, wow, it wasn't just the trauma of the event, it
Yeah,
was the aftermath. It
right.
was that 16-year-old not having the emotional support that she needed through it, and
Mhm.
maybe even being gaslighted and denied, right? Because if that
Yeah,
16-year-old told someone and they didn't believe it, or they mirrored back to her, well, like, no, that didn't happen, right? You were
Yeah.
gaslighted. You're still carrying that with you, unbeknownst to you. And
Mhm.
what we did was we went back there, and you were able to properly grieve and acknowledge the truth and validate your own experience.
Yeah.
And that is the key to anyone listening. You
Mhm.
don't need anybody else to validate your truth. Only you
That's
need
so
you.
real.
And
Mhm.
then you can do your grief work, which you did. You can do your anger release, which you did, and you
Mhm.
can actually let it go. And then guess what happens? That issue that was coming up in here and now in the bedroom, right? It
Mhm.
just it goes away
It
because
did.
it wasn't what was happening in the here and now. It was what happened back then.
Yeah.
So I just want to commend you for your bravery and your courage, and even for sharing that right now. I know that that's helping so many women. Um, so many of us are carrying shame that's lurking in this in the shadows of like something that happened to us, and then we deny it. We even say like, it happened a long time ago. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be a baby about it. Like, I'm good. I'm good. But you're actually not good. You're
Exactly.
actually gaslighting and denying yourself, right?
Yeah, and I would even think that that like heightened my self-doubt and insecurities because I wasn't confident in the ways that I could have been before that I am now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I want to say again, what really was a theme with you, Alexandria, was once you got permission to take 100% responsibility for yourself, for
Mhm.
everything that was happening in your life, that's where like I just saw the magic happen with you, because you were like, oh, I can do this. Like, if it's up to me and I don't have to depend on somebody else to give me something. And
Yeah,
I love that, because that is where your power is. That's where everyone's power is. But some
absolutely.
people, it takes a little bit longer to get there. And some people are more resistant to it than others. But
Yeah.
you just were like, as soon as you got that permission to own that power, you
Mhm.
you were all in. You were like, I'm taking this.
Yeah, see, well, that's kind of where I started. I was always seeking a role model, and I always defined myself by my honestly, by my job, by being a nurse, and a nurse provides service to others all the time. I always was putting others before myself. And you're right. I just needed that permission to be myself and to open up and look inward and figure out who I was, because I was looking for outside sources to kind of direct me in how to act and how to really be myself. But the only way to be myself is through being me. So I
Yeah.
wanted to embody my own being, and that was the main goal. And I've definitely done that. I love myself. It's so great.
It's so awesome. And I want to say, I want you to talk to how you were able to implement loving boundaries, right? Because there were several other relationships in your life, family, right?
Yes.
Think of
Yeah.
mom, sister, right?
Yeah.
That weren't necessarily healthy. So, this is what I want to speak to anybody listening. We can evolve and bring more well being and health into our relationships through
Mhm.
doing our own work, right? And I saw that happen with you in your relationships. So just talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit, and about the journey of how the confidence within yourself helped you to show up to those relationships differently.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I have to start off with the main thing was I feel like a lot of it was in my own head. I was taking a lot of things personally between my mom and my sister's relationship. Like, I was seeking more than what I was receiving because I'm a giver. And I always, with everybody, not just them, I always like thought, oh, if I give them this attention, then I'll get it back. Well, that's not the case, and that's okay. They're allowed to respond the way that they respond, and it's nothing personal. It's just how they're viewing things, and that's just how they're feeling. But at first, I was taking things really personally and just kind of like getting a bruise each time, like maybe my sister was sassy or something, or maybe my mom just didn't give me the right answer and I felt like she wasn't listening to me. But then I started to talk and like started to open up to the both of them and kind of let them know how I was feeling instead of like projecting on them and being angry about it. I would just like kind of phrase, hey, this is what we were talking about, and this is how it made me feel. Is there any way we can address this topic or address this again to clear it up? Or I don't really appreciate if like the way that you talk to me this way. And oh my gosh, like the responses I got were like so unexpected. They were so, everybody that I've done this with too, like they're just like, oh, okay, like I didn't realize I was acting that way. Let's reassert this, or let's readdress it. And it's just so cool because I guess getting out of my head and just displacing myself from the emotion that it provided allowed me to readdress things and get it handled and really fix our relationships and the way that we talk to each other. Because it was really, like I said, in my head, and I was just taking it personal, causing more of bickering and more drama than I needed to stir up. And once I like rephrased things and separated myself from the emotion that it was giving me, we were able to talk it out. And now we're able to have like more open and honest conversations. We're able to be closer. It's incredible. And I don't have any issues like I did before with feeling down or feeling like I wasn't getting the love or attention I was seeking, because I give it to myself now. So that
That's
feels great.
so beautiful. And like the word that came up for me, Alexandria, when you were talking was acceptance, right? So
Absolutely.
what's interesting is when we're unconscious in these relationships, we either are silencing ourselves and we're not feeling good, right?
Mhm.
Which causes anger and resentment, which is very
Yeah.
unhealthy for the relationship.
Mhm.
Or we do speak what we're saying, but it's from this place of like, oh, like you're making me feel this way. You're
Yeah.
doing this to me. You're doing
And
that
that's
to
a
me.
sense of what I was doing. Sorry to interrupt you, but like what I really had to overcome was the fear of response, the fear of how people were going to
Mm,
respond to what I was about to say. But I honestly took your advice and I just overcame that fear and addressed things. And the most important person I did that with was my mom. And
mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I feel like our relationship is just flourishing. I do feel like distance has helped our relationship grow fonder, but I feel like me talking to her and really asking about childhood experiences, because she was the adult in my life, and I did address things very honestly and openly with her, but in a loving place. And I made that very clear with her. Like, I don't want this resentment. I don't want this anger. I'm trying to address this so we can grow from this. And it has helped so much. It has helped incredibly. And getting over that fear, like even sometimes when I talk to her, I still feel choked up, but I just have to talk through it. And it's helped incredibly. And she doesn't like snap back or respond defensively. We actually have open conversations. And it's the way that I worded it. I really do think. I think not taking it personally, removing myself from the fear and emotion, and addressing the facts and healing together has really helped us a lot.
This is so amazing that you're talking about this. And when I talk about healthy, loving boundaries, right?
Mhm,
Boundaries is a big word. Everybody knows what it is,
mhm.
but I want to say where I bring people to with their healthy boundaries is I call it healthy, loving distance, right?
Yes.
And when we are in a relationship and we're being silent or we're kind of just like projecting out, we need to take that break. We need to look within, which you did, right? We need
Mhm.
to get clear on what's coming up for us, which you got very, very crystal clear on it. The other piece of this, Alexandria, is that your most adult self now has owned and taken full responsibility for her child self. So once you did that and you owned those children, right, those vulnerable parts of you that were hurt, and you realized, oh, they're my responsibility now. I get to give them everything they ever needed and never got. Then you can start to come around to mom in a different, healthier way,
Mhm.
right? And you can start to show up in a way that is healthy for the relationship. And if that means distance and boundaries, then that's healthy for the relationship. And
Mhm.
I just want to go to, people get a little bit weird about it because they're like, oh, they're going to see me pulling back. And when the intention is to pull back because it's what you need, right?
Mhm.
To create more health and well-being in the relationship, trust me, it's going to come around. And your
Mhm.
mom did. Your
Mhm.
mom, initially recognized the distance, right?
Mhm.
But you were able to address it in a way where you two now are closer and the
Mhm.
relationship is healthier than it was.
Mhm.
And that's just like such an amazing outcome. But I love that you were able to embrace that. And some of it was communication coaching, like, right? We coached you on the way we talk and the way we come into a conversation in an agreeing kind of a way. Because like I was saying before, we're usually coming at someone, but when we
Yes.
come into a conversation and we want to get them on our team,
Mhm.
we want to stay true to ourselves. It's a whole different energy in that conversation.
Yeah.
And you experienced it through the way they responded to you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I love that. I love that we're going here. And also, the reason why acceptance came up is because we don't realize too that when we're unconscious, we're actually secretly wishing or hoping someone else will change for us, right?
Mhm.
Oh, well, if only they would do this, then our relationship would be so great. But you learned that, oh, I actually have the power here to shift
Yeah.
things, right? I
Mhm.
don't need to wait around because, again, when we're waiting around for someone else to do something for us, we're giving
Mhm.
our power away, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so you owned your power and you put those changes into
Mhm.
effect.
And I
And
think a big part of it too was learning to accept and love individuals where they're at and not trying to change them.
yeah.
Because that was a big mind shift that I had to work on was it's not their actions don't define our relationship or me. It's the fact that that's who they are and that's what they can provide because it's what they know. If they don't know what they're doing, they're not going to fix it. So, like with little things, you can tweak and set those boundaries to fix. But other than that, you just have to love and appreciate them for who they are and what they can provide. And doing that has really caused me to like take a step back emotionally and really appreciate the things that we do have to offer each other.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful that by fully embracing and accepting yourself, right?
Mhm.
How does fully embracing, loving, accepting yourself affect your relationship with others?
Oh, it's incredible. Honestly, I feel like rather than seeking acceptance, I'm just giving it and everybody feels it. Like, I just I feel like I'm the ray of sunshine that I actually am. I'm able to just be
Mhm.
myself and not worry about the repercussions of that because I know I'm a great person and I'm fun to be around. So, like, I put smiles on everybody around me, which is incredible. I love to see that because when we first started working together and I started to kind of break out of my skin, I was telling you, okay, it's starting to show up in my life around me. Like I'm getting reassurance back. People were commenting on how beautiful I was or how like bright I was, how positive I was, which was great to have the reassurance, but just like continuing and holding myself to it and continuing to embody myself, it's been incredible. Like I've had so many people just express that being positive and being myself has really helped them carry on through the day when it's hard, like at work or something. And I've even had like patients and family members just thank me just for being so nice and happy. And you know what? Like, why not? You know, I have a great life. I'm here to work and serve people, and I love what I do. So I want to provide that happiness. I want to be that ray of light in someone's darkest time. So I kind of like relay that onto everybody. Like, even if we're having a great time, we can have a great time together. But if you're having a bad time, like, okay, turn that frown upside down. Let's figure out like how to make it better, or let's just mourn together. Let's be sad together. That's okay. I can be a shoulder too. Because it's nice. I'm in control of my own feelings. I'm in control of myself. So I can really show up for people. It's awesome. And I really feel like if I walk into work, someone's having a hard day when they see me and they smile, I'm like, well, you smiled once today, so that counts as a good mark to me. I love that.
I love this because it comes back to, again, your vision in the beginning was, I want to be authentically, unapologetically myself. And you are a ray of sunshine, right? Like you are a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
positive, upbeat type of a person.
Yeah.
And in the past, that would cause you a little social anxiety,
Yeah.
insecurity, right?
Because
Being
I was always listening to the people kind of saying that it was annoying or like, you're too happy. Why are you so happy? And it's like, well, don't mind me. Okay. Go be gloomy in your own darkness.
right. But it's like we're too much. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because everybody has this form of it in one way or another. Either we're
Mhm.
too happy or too depressed or too down. We're always too something for somebody. And we're
Mhm.
trying to organize ourselves in this way so that we're just right for everybody.
So they can be comfortable.
But now it's like, oh, wait a minute, mind blown. Like that's not it. I embrace who I am. And then
Mhm.
I start seeing that change in the world around me, which is what you just explained. And
Yeah.
I love that saying by like Mahatma Gandhi is like, if we want to see a change in the world, we just need to change ourselves. You do
Yeah.
start to see it mirrored back. And
Yeah.
that's, I gotta say, for me as a coach, that's one of the funnest parts when I see that with a client. And you were
Mhm.
coming in and that was happening. And it was just like, oh, wow, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
It really makes you feel powerful. And another thing that I've overcome in this sense is like people with really strong personalities, I used to let overcome me and kind of like I would cower and be quiet. But now like I talk, I converse, and I don't let the strong personalities really phase me because I know I'm probably a strong personality too. So it's okay. We can both have great fun. But like
Mm,
one one girl at my work who has a strong personality, meaning she's just super confident, sassy, and like sometimes that would make me really nervous, but now I embrace it and I love it. I feed off of it. It's so great. And she was just like telling me how awesome it is that like I'm so happy at work and so like free going. And I was like, well, thank you. I've worked really hard to get here. I'm newly like in my skin and I love it. Like it's been incredible. So I just thanked her for that feedback because it's that positive feedback in my life. Like life providing that reassurance that what I'm doing is the right work. And this is how I'm supposed to feel in my own skin. And it feels awesome.
beautiful. And what I want to say with that is, the word judgment comes to mind because judgment is shown back to us through either I'm better than you or
Mm.
I'm lower than you. So even when we're putting people on a pedestal, right? Even when we're perceiving someone as super confident and it makes us feel insecure in some kind of a way,
Oh, yeah.
that is a form of our own judgment. And I want to say that was a big concept because I always say this, one of my mentors says this all the time. We cannot heal anything in the energy of judgment, right? And when we're resisting something, we're judging it. When we are putting someone on a pedestal, we're judging them.
Mhm.
And you really learned that concept so well. You were so ready to give up, the judge within you that we even had to go to a point where I had to say, okay, Alexandria, like, there's judgment and then there's discernment, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we need that healthy side of judgment, right? And you're able to like understand that concept. But yeah, that's what that is. So like when we're accepting ourselves, when we're accepting others, we can take a deep breath in, even if something comes up for us, and we take a mindful moment and be like, okay, what's coming up for me?
Mhm.
And then that's where affirmations can come in. We can affirm a higher truth within ourselves, right? And I always talk about this thing of like positive thinking is bullshit because we can't
Mhm.
anxiously positive think our way out of something. But if we get conscious, take a mindful moment,
Mhm.
and we recognize the judge is coming up, and then we can affirm a higher truth, like, right?
Mhm.
I'm good. I accept we're all human. That's my affirmation. If I feel like I'm putting someone on a pedestal, I will breathe in and I will say, they're human, just like me. They've
Absolutely.
got skin, bones, organs. They've got the same shit, whether they're making billions or they're
Mhm.
poor, right?
There's always
Um,
something.
yeah, and that's where I like to give affirmations that are true, because then we can take them in.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I want to say I took like notes on things, but I know that your word for the year, we left off 2022 with you truly feeling like you had really released fear and
Mhm.
self-doubt.
Mhm.
And you were left off in a place of confidence and self-trust.
Mhm.
So if you were to give advice to somebody right now that was feeling a lot of insecurity, fear, self-doubt within themselves,
Mhm.
what would you tell them right now?
I would honestly say to take that vulnerability and apply it to yourself and open up and figure out where that's stemming from, because it really is stemming from somewhere, and you just have to be willing to open up and do the work within yourself to get past it. There's nothing else that's going to push you past it. I've tried.
Mm. That's beautiful. And what would you say were really like the keys to your healing, to yourself, this newfound confidence and self-trust within yourself? Like what were the keys?
Um, I I really think self-compassion and being patient with myself and vulnerable with myself were the true keys. Staying true to myself and being honest through this whole process, because there were times where I was like, you get so once you're working through it, there's like rebound emotions that pop up after the sessions that I wasn't expecting, but it makes sense because it's like exercising. You're going to be a little bit sore afterwards. So when
Mhm.
you're exercising your emotions, you're going to have a little bit of emotional rebound after, which was it was awesome though. It was kind of like a test after where it's like to see how I would do with regulating my emotions without the help. And it really like helped define, or it helped yeah, define my practice of applying the emotional freedom and techniques to use to help in those moments, because I'm always going to have moments of anxiety. It's a part of my body and that's okay, but I've learned to accept it and like listen to my body and regulate it. So, yeah, I think,
Beautiful.
but I definitely think the self-compassion, learning that with you has been really empowering to myself, because I'm still a hypercritical person, but that's just who I am. But now loving myself through it just changes the way that I see things and changes the way that I do things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't hate on those hypercritical, self-doubting,
Yeah.
anxious parts of us, right?
Right.
The
It's a
key,
part of me. Yeah.
right? The key is to bring that love and compassion even to those parts of you.
Mhm.
Mm, so
Mhm.
awesome. Tell us, even if it's like the simplest thing, what
Yeah.
are some of your favorite go-to tools that you've gotten out of this?
Okay. I have to say dancing with my darkness, the
Mm.
body mirror work, and the tapping. Tapping I can do anywhere. So it like really helps with the regulation. With the physical aspects, I like that. The dancing with my darkness, I do that if I'm feeling like gloomy or if there's something heavy going on. It's just the most beautiful dance with myself. I love to dance. I love to move my body, and that's just really empowering to me. And then the body work, the mirror body work, a big part of this transformation has been embodying my own skin, and the mirror work has really helped me love my body, not just through this process, but through my own life process, because I've been wanting to love my body through everything. Because in the next couple years, I want to have a baby. And I want to be able to give myself grace and love myself through seeing my stomach grow and my body change rather than being hypercritical and rude to myself. Like, I want to appreciate the beauty behind it. So that has really shifted my mind to loving my own skin and being confident and like not only in the bedroom, but like out at the pool and stuff. Like, I have a nice body and I'm young. I want to have free and enjoy it while I can, you know. If you got it, you should flaunt
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yes,
I love the confident Alexandria. This is so
yes.
great. Like Alexandria, like 9 months ago, would not have said that.
No, I wouldn't even have dared. And I'm actually going to Miami in May, and I just bought some like super fun dresses that I never have would have like I've never would have worn in the past. But I'm so excited. I will post all the pictures. I'm super excited for
Mm.
it. They're
Oh my
neon
gosh.
bright too. So I'm gonna be like a highlighter in the dark.
I love it, Alexandria. Having conversations with you is always so much fun, but I just want to say, like, you're an inspiration. I do this work with women from early 20s to 70s, and I'm inspired at all ages. But yeah, you really are an inspiration and to young women in their 20s everywhere,
Thank
because
you.
you're this great testament to what's possible when you just decide to own your power.
Yeah. And you just have to be ready to change within yourself. You have to be open
Mm.
to it. It's not easy, but it's well worth it.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Oh, oh my gosh, I don't even have my handles or anything.
Well, you know what?
Well,
Is it
through here.
okay? Can I tag you in this? Is
Yeah,
that okay? All right.
absolutely. Yes.
I just want to let everyone know that I'm going to tag Alexandria in here, and you can contact her on Facebook. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to take a look and see if anyone's commented.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
I'm open to answering any questions too. If anyone wants to reach out, feel free. Open to answering any questions too.
Okay. Okay, let me lower that. Okay, Janet. Hi, Janet. I'm sure Janet's still here. Joe, be that change. Keep shining, you two. That's
Oh.
awesome. Thank you, Joe. My son's father.
Thanks.
All right. And Jennifer. Hey, Jen, thanks for watching. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for us? You can go ahead and throw them in the chat now, and then I'll take a look. Otherwise, I'm going to leave Alexandria's information and I'll tag her on this if you want to reach out to her. And I am hosting a free call giveaway right now on my page. It's good till tomorrow. I just launched my group coaching space. So if anybody's interested in having a call with me, check out my page. You can see that post. You can apply to have a free call with me or a call to learn about my group coaching space. And you can have a transformation like Alexandria's as well. It really just takes you making the empowered decision. All right. So let me check and see if anybody commented or asked a question. Oh, we got a couple here. Okay. Janet, awesome. Awesome journey for you too. So happy to hear what you've done at such a young age. Yeah, I know,
Thank
Janet.
you.
I know. I'm 46, and I just want to say, when I was a nurse, my last job for 8 years was as a manager, and I managed a lot of millennials, a lot of young nurses like yourself, and I absolutely love you guys. I know people are always talking about what they don't like about the millennials, but I always loved this, that you guys were so committed. You're very like, you work well in groups. You're very positive. You want to like do well, like like as a whole, very philanthropic and like wanting to feel purposeful and like valued in what you're doing.
I
Um,
agree.
really quick learners, right?
Mhm.
So I think for anybody out there in their 20s that wants to do the work, yeah,
I
let
believe they
Alexandria
can.
be an
Yeah,
inspiration.
I believe they can. I just don't believe like all the doors are there for some people, or they like don't know how to get there, but that's why you're doing your work and that's why you do what you do. So I love that.
I
Yeah.
love it that you
You're kind
said
of
that, because for those of us that are watching that have businesses that are like, oh, right, I don't want
Yeah.
to be seen, I don't want to be heard, I'm posting too much. No, you have to get your message out there, because how else
Yeah.
are you going to find people to help, right?
Exactly. And like social media is so saturated, like why not add to it? Just get it out there. You
I
shine a
love
different
that.
light, so just put it out there.
All right. Well, any last words, Alexandria, before we go?
Thank you so much. No, I feel like this was awesome, and I hope that we were able to reach some people.
Definitely. I have
Yeah.
no doubt. All right.